Hey assholes, we're doing magic today. Okay, so the magic system is a little bit on the weird side. We don't got a list of spells for you to pick from. You buy up for your character and then maybe you level the spells up or none of that shit. You got 7 spell actions, right? 7? Probably something like that. I don't know, I can't count. You got spell actions and they do a thing, and then if you want, you can make the spell harder in order to add another thing that it can do, more stuff to it. So, you got stuff like the attack action, which does damage at a certain range, and it works a certain way, and barrier will, it's some kind of defensive thing, I don't know, does it add, what does it add? What does barrier do? Oh, it just reduces damage, that's cool. Oh, that's really nice. We also got heal, curse, dispel, conjure, some other stuff. Utility, which is just anything else that isn't covered, I guess. Why am I looking at the same things twice? Oh, that's right, because there's a narrative way to use a spell, and then there's like the structured way, like when you're actually in combat, and so there's a separate section for talking about it in each. Gives you some idea as to how to use, say, the barrier spell in a not a structured area. You can be a bit more free with it, like using barrier to just create a physical wall, although it doesn't say, no, the wall doesn't have any kind of hit points or nothing. Can you break the wall? It's just a barrier. How would people get through? Would they have to dispel it? Let's just focus on the structured thing. So barrier, easy difficulty, it's a check, and it will reduce damage, and it can reduce even more damage if you do really well. It says how that works. It also has a range, right? It has some sort of range, set range. Yeah, it's got a set range. Speaking of range, it's one of the things you can add to increase the range of the spell. So increase the range. You can also have it affect a different target. You can have it add defense and additional defensive bonuses of various kinds. Make it more powerful is one way. That's kind of cool. And each of these will add 1 or 2. In some cases, I think, do any of them add 3? In any of them? Ooh, wow. That one will add 4, that particular thing, to that particular action. Anyway, these new things are going to add to the difficulty of the spell, making it more complicated, more hard for you to cast, but anyone can cast it. Even just a low-level noob. All you really need is a single rank in one of the 3 magical skills. Say what spell you're going to do, what action you're going to do, add any things to increase the difficulty, and then do the thing. In some cases, you may, let's see, with attack, you can add like blast and burn weapon qualities. Now, because they're weapon qualities, they work the same. You still have to spend the advantage costs in order to activate it. So, not only will blast make it harder and increase the difficulty, so it's harder to do in general, but also you have to succeed and get the 2 advantages it would cost to activate blast, or sometimes 3 for blast. It depends on the situation. Everything else, though, would just automatically go off, yeah. If it's not like a weapon quality, you would just do the thing. Now, you may have noticed by now, if you're looking through, each action has certain skills that can cast it. And there are 3 magical skills: Arcana, Divine, and Primal, influenced by intellect, willpower, and cunning, respectively. And all you need is a single rank in one of those skills in order to cast that particular action. So, some people are kind of annoyed by this, like, why can't Arcana, let's see, what can't Arcana do? Arcana cannot heal, and some people are kind of annoyed by that, which, I don't know, they have to have some kind of balance, I guess, and it depends on your setting, really. But all that means is that person, the magic user, is going to have to spend more points, focus on their magic, that's all. It's just a balance thing. They can just spend their points there. Magic is not meant to be easy. I don't know, it depends on the setting, whether it works for you or not, or you could just ignore this shit. It's up to you. Though there are some qualities, or effects they call them, additional effects you can add onto a spell that are regulated to a particular school of magic, to a particular skill. So you have to be using that skill, casting this action with that skill in order to add this thing. Like, let's see, there's 1 each for the attack effect, both Primal, Arcana, probably Arcana. I'm sure someone's probably really annoyed that I'm saying Arcana instead of Arcana. Does it matter? I don't care. Each of the 3 skills has a thing to add to attack. Again, some people might be annoyed by this. Let's see, why can't I add Reflection to my barrier if I'm Divine only? Spoilers. It's up to you and the GM, but per the rules, you need to use that particular skill to use that thing and to add that effect. So yeah, as a magic user, that particular characteristic for that skill you want to focus on the most is going to be most important to you. So you just need a rank in that particular skill in order to use it, in order to do one of the actions connected to that skill. And that's about it. You don't even need it as a career skill, though there are careers which get magic skills as career skills. Let's see, there's Priest I know of, Wizard, of course, and Druid. They each get one of the 3 magic skills as career skills, and so they can get a free rank. So not a bad way to go. Now, after you do a magical skill check, after you resolve that check, you then have to take 2 strain. And that's after you resolve it. So after you spend any advantages to heal strain you might have already taken, you then take 2 strain. So you can't really heal it in the same turn as you cast the spell if you roll really well. But you have to take 2 strain, so any talents that help you heal with strain faster could be considered magical talents. There's not really anything else that directly deals with magic. There's a talent at tier 3 and tier 5 which just helps any skill. And it's pretty, I don't want to say necessary, but they're pretty powerful. They're pretty significant. And I feel like just about any character is going to want to take that for their most important thing, whatever that is. So, let's see, what characteristics? Whatever characteristic is tied to your skill is going to be important. Will's not bad. You probably don't want your will to be shitty, you know, for strain. Any talents that help with strain. There are some skills that actually help with qualities. The effects you can add to your spell. I believe knowledge helps with one of those, so I would check out the actions, go through, see what ones would be useful to you, and that might inform other skills or other stats that are important to you. Ooh, there's magical maneuvers, which are kind of cool. There is Dispel or Counterspell. I think Counterspell. Yes, Counterspell maneuver. You do this maneuver, and then enemy spellcasters have a more difficult time casting spells, but they're probably going to have a magic user doing the same thing. Also, there's a maneuver called Concentration, because some spells are concentration duration. They'll last until the end of your next turn, and the concentration maneuver, what it does is you spend a maneuver and then that spell will end until the end of your next turn. So if you activate a concentration duration spell now, there's no real point to spending a maneuver to do the concentration maneuver this turn, but on your following turn, spend a maneuver to concentrate, and that will sustain it until the 3rd turn. And then you can use your action on some other spell, you know, cast Barrier on one turn, and then on your next turn spend a maneuver to maintain it, and an action to do an attack spell. Are there any talents that help with action economy? I'm not sure. Well, straining yourself to do maneuvers, do more maneuvers, so strain management is going to be big with your magic user. So that's something to keep in mind. After the magic, they talk about magical implements, which can reduce difficulty of casting, maybe not certain spells, but certain effects. They all work a little differently. There is, let's see, there's a druidic circle, which helps you summon pets a bit better, or you could reskin that as a necromancy thing, a bone collar, a bone thing. I don't know. Helps you summon a skeleton buddy a little better. There's a talent that actually allows you to just have a buddy. So you could have a familiar, what is that, tier 3? It's going to take a while, but that could be good for a mage of some kind. Let's see, we got holy icons, magic orbs, magic rings, magic wands, and magic staves. Can you use your staff as a weapon? I guess you could use it as an improvised weapon. Doesn't really say. Just use the improvised weapons rules if you want. Though it's probably more likely to break if memory serves. And let's see. Ooh, some of these are pricey. Yeah, you're not getting a magic ring at character creation. That's for damn sure. Not even an orb unless your GM is really good with the money. I don't think there's a way to get extra money in this game. Port over obligation or duty or something from Star Wars. That's what I would do. The morality system from Force and Destiny, you pick a morality modification or you just get X amount of money or X amount of experience points, which you could just do that. Just give everyone this shit. I would rather use obligation. I really like obligation. I gotta do a video on those. You guys, you keep reminding me to do a video on those, and I keep forgetting. Anyway, you got some magical implements. More often than not, let's see, we only get 500 credits, so you're probably going to want either a staff, a wand, a holy icon. That can help you, your healers. Maybe if you slob your GM's knob enough, you can get that druidic circlet right out the gate. But, yeah. There's some gear that's important. Ooh, armor is also going to be a thing, because here's the thing. What I really like, they have the penalties for casting magic under certain circumstances. It's pretty... a bit more thorough than I would have imagined. If you don't have a hand free, that's going to cost you. If you can't speak, that's going to cost you. If you're wearing armor of a particular bigness, that's going to cost you. And if you're having trouble concentrating for whatever reason, that is going to cost you. You can get some massive penalties depending on the circumstances. That's kind of cool. Nice and thorough. Oh, this is important. If you're casting a spell that doesn't target the person you're fighting in hand-to-hand combat, so if you cast a spell against throw a fireball at the mage who's far away from you, but someone's right in front of you with an axe, that's going to make things more difficult. So I'm glad they included that. That makes perfect sense. All right, I think I'm done talking about magic. Not much else to say. Do you have any questions about magic? Probably not going to answer too many specifics, but all right. Bye, I guess.